This is Trevor Phillips on Times Radio. Let's now turn to those events in the Middle East where the UK over the weekend recognised Palestinian statehood. The UK's delegation will be landing in New York any minute now to formally recognise the state at the UN General Assembly. But what practical difference will all this make? Sir Vincent Fean is the former British Consul General in Jerusalem and the former de facto ambassador to the occupied Palestinian territories from 2010 to 2014. Now a trustee of the Palestine Project seeking equal rights for Israelis and Palestinians, he joins me now. Good afternoon, Sir Vincent.
Good day to you, Trevor.
There are 150 countries who recognise a Palestinian state. Now, the United Kingdom says it wants to add more diplomatic pressure. Any chance of that working?
It's a start. I think it's a beginning, a new beginning to our relationship, the British relationship with the Palestinian people. We have formed, Trevor, on this issue, as you just said about colonialism and so on. Imperial Britain ran Palestine, Israel and Palestine as it now is, from 1917 to 48, and we didn't do a great job. The main thing we did in that time was to ensure that while there was an Arab majority in that country, the larger country, Mandate Palestine, we made sure that there were no representative institutions created. So we have formed. Now, we are permanent members of the UN Security Council with France, and we are working with Commonwealth countries like Canada and Australia and Europeans like Belgium and Portugal to ensure that the Palestinian right to self-determination matches that of the Israelis. And the only way that that can be done, that the international community can see, is by recognition and by working in hope, I say in hope, of two states. Now, as you said earlier, I think the Israeli government has set its face against two states and, in my opinion, is currently perpetrating genocide in Gaza and apartheid in the West Bank. So negotiations are not imminent. But what can be imminent is coalition between those recognizing states, the 150, to try to ensure that recognition leads to a genuine, independent, sovereign Palestinian state at peace with its Israeli neighbor.
So, Vincent, Benjamin Netanyahu's called this step an absurd prize for terrorism. The Israelis' case, though, is that the argument that this leads to a two-state solution ignores the view that has been taken by Hamas, which is actually that, in the Israelis' words, that they really just want a one-state solution because what they really want is the elimination of the state of Israel. It does take two to tango, doesn't it?
It does. And at the moment, to be frank, Israel is not in this tango. Hamas, you spoke about earlier, quite rightly, is a terrorist organization. It has, according to the Arab League and our own country and President Abbas sitting in Ramallah, no place in the future governance of Gaza. And indeed, Hamas has reconciled itself to that. But
sorry to interrupt you. This is a crucial point, isn't it? Everybody keeps saying this. But how is that supposed to happen? You will know, as well as anybody who's been to Gaza, that we may be saying it's a terrorist organization and, there's lots of evidence for that. But inside Gaza, the perception of Hamas is that of the organization that provides health clinics, of provides schools, that provides support when food is running low. It is a popular organization there. How do we imagine that there can be a Palestinian state in which Hamas plays no role? How does that actually happen?
Right. You're quite right about the social fabric in Gaza. There were, in the past, two bodies that kind of competed for action in Gaza. One was the UN Relief Works Agency, for which I've got the highest praise, and the other was Hamas. Today, for the last 2 years, we've had growing genocide from the Israeli government through its Israeli Defense Force, and Today, again, the Israeli army controls 85% of Gaza, and nobody's actually been able to ask the Gazan people what they want, because they're too busy, frankly, trying to survive, starved, bombarded, etc. All the things we know, all the bad things we know. So we don't really know what the mood of the people in Gaza is. They're focused on survival. In the West Bank, you're right, there is some support for what's called armed resistance by people. But the reality of life is that the way forward has to be an outcome that will be attractive to the Israeli people as well as to the Palestinian people. And that means mutual security and each side looking out for the other. Now, we're nowhere near that.
Sir Vincent,
but recognition today is a step in that direction, in my opinion.
Sir Vincent, thank you so much for your time and clarity of your explanation.